everyone. So today we're going to be looking at Proverbs 29, verses 1 through 9. And it reads like this: Whoever remains stiff-necked after many rebukes will suddenly be destroyed without remedy. When the righteous thrive, the people rejoice. When the wicked rule, the people groan. A man who loves wisdom brings joy to his father, but a companion of prostitutes squanders his wealth. By justice a king gives a country stability, but those who are greedy for bribes tear it down. Those who flatter their neighbors are spreading nets for their feet. Evildoers are snared by their own sin, but the righteous shout for joy and are glad. The righteous care about justice for the poor, but the wicked have no such concern. Mockers stir up a city, but the wise turn away anger. If a wise person goes to court with a fool, the fool rages and scoffs, and there is no peace. So there are two things that I want to look at, two major themes that I see in these this set of verses that I want to discuss. And the first one is this idea that we should be slow to anger. Repeatedly, what we see in these verses is that the wise bring about peace. They try to maintain neutrality. They are the cool-headed people, right? Look at verse 4. By justice a king gives a country stability, but those who are greedy for bribes tear it down. Or verse 8. Mockers stir up a city, but the wise turn away anger. And especially more so this one, more so the 8th verse. The 4th verse probably more so ties into my next point. But what you see is an overlap. You see that all of these ideas are working with one another, right? So as believers, to my first point, it is our job to be peacemakers. It is our job to seek reconciliation. We are to exemplify the character of Christ, and Christ did not promote rebellion. Christ did not promote unrest, but rather he sought to bring people together. It was his goal to bring peace to the earth, right? And that's what you see when you look at some of the early verses of the Gospels. Peace on earth, right? Goodwill to men. And so right, we should be slow to anger, right? We should not be inciting violence. We should not be promoting disagreement. Now that doesn't mean that we can't make clear a stance, but it just means that we have to do it in a way that is respectful, in a way that maintains a certain level of decorum. And that brings me to my next point, which is that what you see in these set of verses is that you sort of get a sense of what it means to be what it means to lead in a way that is successful, right? I want to take a look at verse 2. It says, when the righteous thrive, the people rejoice. When the wicked rule, the people groan. That means that when the righteous rule, there is a sense of happiness amongst the people, right? Why? Because they are, and righteous people are most likely wise people. So you see, like I was talking about that overlap. They're sort of using, it's almost as though they're using these words interchangeably. And we see in verse 4, like I referenced earlier, by justice a king gives his country stability. In other words, by wisdom a king gives a country stability. By seeking peace, a king gives a country stability. By doing the right thing, a king gives a country stability, right? And so, because when you look at every verse, it's a contrast with the first part. So the first part is saying one thing, and the next part is contradicting it, not always directly, but in terms of the theme that's being conveyed. And so, verse 7 is another example of what it means to lead, to be a wise leader, a righteous leader. It says the righteous care about justice for the poor, but the wicked have no such concern. And we know, right, that Jesus was concerned about the poor, right? He said on his Sermon on the Mount, blessed are the poor. I believe he said they shall inherit the earth. Jesus was the embodiment of poverty in some ways. He sought to identify with the common man who was not rich. And I think that is evident when you look at his upbringing, right? Born in a manger, right? His father was a carpenter. Jesus did not come from a wealthy household. Why? Because he was trying to identify with his fellow Jews, who the majority of whom were not rich, did not know wealth. And so, I think it's, one of the things I like, one of the reasons I like Proverbs is because you sort of see this overlap of ideas. And when you really think about them, you can see the parallels between the messages in the New Testament, the messages that Solomon, who is said to have written most of the Proverbs, if I'm not mistaken, is trying to convey here.